Sorry, I'm continuing to get notifications popping up all the time in front of me while I'm trying to talk. So, again, my name is Mike Naraki, principal of AMSA Charter School. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We really appreciate you all taking time out on a Wednesday evening to join us and to learn a little bit more about AMSA Charter School. I will speak a little, I tend to speak fast sometimes. I will try to speak slowly, more slowly than usual, because we do have interpreters who are on a separate channel translating in Spanish and Portuguese. So I will do my best to go at a good pace tonight. Uh, so as I mentioned, I'm the principal of the school. I've been at AMSA now for 15 years. Started out as a teacher, and then in 2011, actually late 2011, I got into administration as a dean of students for a few years, and then vice principal for a few years, and then I have been principal since 2019. Actually from Marlboro, born and raised, so I'm very familiar with the nearby towns, core towns that we have at the school, and all the other cities and towns that we have represented at AMSA. So it's an honor to be working in an area that I know quite well, that I grew up in, and I think it helps develop some good relationships with the students and the families, knowing that we're all kind of coming from the same area. So I'm going to get going. I'm going to talk. We have several slides tonight. We're going to go through as much information as possible regarding AMSA, what the day-to-day looks like, what an academic day looks like for each grade level, grades 6 through 8, and then some of the other details that are important to know about, like our after-school clubs and activities, athletic programs, all of that. So we're going to go through quite a bit, and then at the end, um, we have our ELL director, Katilsa Indrasano, who will introduce herself later on. Our special ed director, Lynn Jarvis, is here and available to answer any questions at the conclusion of this program tonight. She can hang around. And then Linda Edwards is also here, our admissions, our registrar at AMSA. She's responsible for handling all the logistics around admissions to AMSA, the lottery process. She will be speaking at the end of this program tonight. And also out there somewhere, I believe Dr. Mobley, our executive director, is here. I'm not sure if she's even able to wave on her camera and say hello on Microsoft Teams, but Dr. Mobley told me that she was going to be in the audience tonight, so we welcome her for sure. Okay, let's get going here. So a little bit about AMSA, a little bit of our background. We are a free public charter school. We are not a private school. We always like to come out the gate and let people know that right away, because there is some confusion out there still in some of the communities that around what we are, what kind of school we are. So just to be very clear, we are a free public charter school. Our enrollment is at 966 students. That is a purposeful number that has been set by the Massachusetts Department of Education. It's been set for many years at 966. And we're in a situation at AMSA where when we graduate around 100, and we have grades 6 through 12 at AMSA. Each grade level has around 140 students or so. When our graduating class, our senior class, when they graduate, that opens up usually around 140, 150 seats per year to our school. When we have our lottery, it's for cases when we have more applications than we do available seats. So that's why AMSA has traditionally run a lottery each year, because we have many, many applicants and we have a limited number of seats. And again, our enrollment is capped off at this point in time at 966 students. Our core towns for AMSA Charter School are Clinton, Maynard, Marlboro, and Hudson. And Miss Edwards will talk a little bit more about how that factors into the lottery process. Right now at AMSA, we have around 30 different cities and towns represented at the school. And the last time we surveyed families and students, we have around 50 different languages represented at AMSA. that bullet point right there, I think, points to the awesome diversity that we have at AMSA. Many different people coming from different backgrounds, and it really helps. It really develops into a very nice, tight knit community and offers a great education for our students, not only in the classroom, but they get to socialize and meet people from all different backgrounds, which is awesome. AMSA, as it says here, we strive to be a supportive learning community where we do have high expectations. So, one of the things that we like to pride ourselves on at AMSA is we do have a challenging curriculum. AMSA is a challenging school, it is rigorous, that's for sure. We like to think that we balance that well with offering appropriate support and plenty of support where needed for our students. And we'll get into some of the ways that we do that throughout this presentation tonight. Okay, AMSA's mission and core values. Every school around has a mission statement. Most companies, organizations, and schools have that. Just you can read our entire mission statement on our school website. I do suggest that you visit AMSA's school website at amsacs.org. If you want to learn anything about the school, pretty much all the information that can be published out there is out there for anyone to read. Um, and include, in the on that website, you'll also find our mission statement and our core values. So three key pieces of our mission statement. We talk about the celebration of knowledge, children of all backgrounds and all abilities, excelling in all subjects, and empowering students to succeed after graduation. Um, so just to quickly kind of elaborate on our mission, we are a mission-driven school. We do discuss our mission. It's not just something that is written on the walls around campus. It is something that we discuss as a staff and as a community with our students and our families throughout the students' entire time here. Celebration of knowledge, I think, speaks to our teachers, our staff members' passion to educate our students, and also our students, once they get into our school and they go through our academic program, we do believe that they really grasp quite a bit of knowledge, and they begin to find their pathway and figure out exactly what their plan is for after high school. And they just really, the passion and the enthusiasm builds as time goes on. And it really is an atmosphere where there really is celebration of knowledge going on a daily basis. Children of all backgrounds and all abilities. So we, as a school, as I mentioned earlier, we have 30 different towns and cities represented. We have students coming in sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth, or ninth grade from all over central Massachusetts or all over Massachusetts in general. Everybody has their own story, everybody has their own educational background, and we know that, and we receive students. When they walk through the doors the first day, they are what they are at that point, and then it's our job to deliver our curriculum and grant them opportunities to learn and to grow inside and outside of the classroom. And that's what we pride ourselves on. Doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter what your abilities are when you first set foot into the building. We want our students to excel in all of their subjects and to find excellence throughout their journey at AMSA. And the way we do that is by making sure we have the appropriate staff delivering the best lessons possible to our students, engaging our students as best as we can, meeting them where they're at, and then trying to get them to meet their potential or even go beyond what they think their potential is as a student. We want to develop well-rounded students, as it mentions here, so that when they leave AMSA, that they have the tools that they need to find success after high school. And the way that we do that, I think, is we do a lot of collaborative work in the classroom. Our teachers, even starting out in sixth grade, they introduce group work to students, learning how to work in teams, learning how to work well individually, learning how to make sacrifices, how to delegate, how to work together effectively to meet one common goal. And I think that we all can attest that when you get older and you become an adult, those are very important skills. You need to know how to work with people, from different backgrounds, different abilities, and all things things of that nature. And we do a nice job of preparing our students for what's to come after they leave AMSA, we believe. Core values are integrity, excellence, and community. We talk to our students every year about integrity, being truthful in your work, being honest in the way you conduct yourselves around the hallways, in the classroom, and outside the classroom. Excellence, we talk about committing yourself 100%. Excellence does not mean getting straight A pluses in every single subject. Excellence means just giving it your all, giving it 100%, and being able to live with that result, knowing that you tried your best. So we do talk to our students about that. Community, we talk to students about caring for one another, respecting the community, respecting the facilities, cleaning up a mess if you make a mess, helping out a friend if you see a friend in need, helping out a teacher, teachers helping students, staff members helping other staff members, etc. We do a nice job of celebrating our core values. We give out core value awards each month to students across grades 6 through 12 who are recognized by staff members for going above and beyond. And internally as a staff, we also do the same thing where we give out teacher recognition awards internally as a staff. Every month we try and do that as well, just to keep our core values in mind as a school. Academic life prior to entering AMSA. So if you enter into the lottery and you earn a seat through the lottery, a student earns a seat through the lottery, they accept their seat at AMSA. We would then conduct a math placement exam, a reading assessment, and a WIDA screener, which Katilsa and Drasana will go into that with more detail in regards to responses to the home language survey and the ELL support that we offer at AMSA. So every student would go through that. That's accepted through the lottery. Math placement exam will help determine a preliminary level for mathematics. And the student has room to, of course, move. We don't base everything off of one placement exam, but that's where the initial math leveling comes from. And then our math department does a great job of looking at student performance data and making any adjustments and communicating with the student and families if there's any need to move, whether it's down a level or up to a higher level, that those conversations take place. And we have a reading program, reading support program. If there's any identifiers in the reading assessment where a student needs additional reading support, we do have a reading program. We have a reading teacher, Miss Pearson, who would work directly with those students in her classroom. So let's talk a little bit about sixth grade, just so you can get a little bit of a picture. And we'll go through what the day-to-day scheduling looks like here and how our schedule operates on a daily basis. But in sixth grade, you can see every day students will take pre-algebra, computer science, English, and history. They're every other day courses. All students in grades 6 through 8 for their foreign language or their world language, they take Latin. That is in our charter. As a AMSA, when we filed our charter to start the school, one of the key pieces was to feature Latin as the world language for our middle school students in grades 6 through 8. So that is the language that the students would be studying. In high school, more choices can be offered, as you can see here on the screen. We have biology is the first science that they'll see on an every other day basis. There's a reading and writing workshop with an English teacher, art and phys ed. Students will have art and phys ed every other day throughout middle school and phys ed every other day throughout high school as well. Seventh grade, things change just a little bit. We introduced geometry, computer science turns to an every other day course, and we introduce chemistry and physics for science classes. And then you can see that history, algebra, and English stay everyday courses. When we get to eighth grade, we introduce earth science as an additional science, and algebra and English remain as the everyday classes. But you'll see that computer science, geometry, and then the students will be taking 4 different science courses in addition to computer science during eighth grade year. Eighth grade year, the schedule is jam-packed, but like I said earlier, students at that point, if they started in sixth grade, they've been through the program, they know how we operate. And again, we do offer plenty of support. Our teachers are very team oriented, our school counselors, everybody's keeping tabs on student progress, and we intervene when necessary and make sure students have all the tools and all the support that they need to be successful at AMSA. But I don't want to, I want to make it clear, everyone. It is, as you can see, it's quite rigorous. It's quite a rigorous curriculum and schedule that we have for our students starting in sixth grade. Grade 9, some people out there may be entering their child into the lottery for a grade 9 seat. They go through the same process with the placement exams, and they would be screened through the WIDA screener that I mentioned if there's any indication on their home language survey. Ninth grade students take biology every day. That is their only science course in ninth grade once you get to high school. And then as I put here and as I mentioned earlier, if you go on to our school's website, amsacs.org, you will be able to find our program of studies, which shows the entire high school course offerings, and it has all of the graduation requirements, all the academic requirements. All that information is there for you on our site and on the program of studies and in our student parent handbook as well. Many different options on where to find this stuff. So with the middle school grades, grades 6 through 8, there is a directed study period every single day that takes place. This is a 45-minute block where students can operate as if it's just a traditional study hall where they can complete homework. One nice aspect of directed study is the fact that teachers in the middle school teachers, the majority of them are free during that period, or they teach a directed study class. That means that the teachers are available for small group work, maybe even one-to-one work with students by appointment. So there's a whole system that we have in place at each grade level where if I'm a student and I'm a seventh grader and I'm in math class on a Tuesday afternoon and I go through the whole lesson and I'm not sure what's really going on, I'm not grasping the concepts that day, I'm not sure what my teacher's talking about, I can approach my teacher after class, ask them for a directed study pass, which means the next time that directed study period happens, whether it's later that day or the next day, um, I have a pass from that teacher to go see them, and I can work with my math teacher to in a smaller group setting and get a little bit more extra help on what we were learning the class prior. So it's a really nice system that has been a part of AMSA since AMSA started 20 years ago. We also have an advisory period that occurs on day 8 of our rotating schedule. We do have an 8-day rotating schedule, which I'll talk a little bit about later. So once every 8 school days, our students do go through an advisory period during the directed study H block. And there's some examples here of some of the things that they talk about during advisory, some of the lessons that are delivered during that time on responsibility, integrity. There's a bullying prevention week theme each year. They also talk about managing stressful situations, organizational skills, study skills, things of that nature. That does occur once every 8 school days at the middle school level, all grades 6 through 8. Some quick items on student life. There are many opportunities to socialize, meet new people, make new friends. Our PTO has been great over the years. They organize social events for new families, international festivals we have each spring, late winter, early spring. We usually have an international festival. PTO keeps things they keep opportunities alive and give families opportunities to meet each other and to get more familiar with the AMSA community. our club offerings, after school clubs, interest clubs, or academic clubs. We have a lower school math team, for example. There's a drama society. And then you can read all these other examples. Science Bowl. We've had a chess club on certain years. There's a Leaders of Tomorrow group, which is service leadership. We have close to 100 students in grades 6 through 12 who are a part of that leadership group. And there are field trips each year for the middle school grade level. Those vary each year. They're usually focused on community building, and we try to have them also involve, be academically relatable as well to some of the material that they're learning in particular classes. But they really are meant to, as another opportunity for students to be, to go through a community building type of field trip to have fun together. Um, we've had years where middle school grades have hiked up Mount Wachusett together, so they go through a challenging process together in sort of like a team-like environment, cheer each other on, and feel very accomplished once they get to the top of that mountain. That's just one example of one of the trips we've had in the past. So what separates middle schools from other middle school at AMSA from other middle schools? We believe what's nice about AMSA is everyone's on one campus. The middle school, high school, grade levels, grade 6 through 12, we're all on one campus. We now have four buildings officially. And there's a tight knit unit at the school, tight knit community, as I mentioned. We have many teachers that actually teach at the middle and high school level as part of their teaching schedule. There's plenty of familiarity, and we have the luxury, I think, of just being one school. And having, one student parent handbook, having one program of studies for our high school that where our middle school feeds right into our academic programming. There's no separation in going to a new location and seeing a bunch of brand new teachers. We all know each other. We all communicate with each other. So there's tons of familiarity, which I think is a positive. As I mentioned, our middle school has a rigorous course of study. High school level content is definitely covered at the middle school level. I believe that it's a model that has worked for us for many, many years. We've seen plenty of success and offered plenty of support along the way. And it is chunked appropriately too, I believe. It is layered appropriately where, students are learning these high school level concepts at an appropriate pace each grade level as they progress through middle school. Computer science is a core class. As I mentioned, in sixth grade, students have computer science every single day, and then it turns into an every other day course for seventh and eighth grade. And then once students get to high school, there are graduation requirements where students have to earn a certain number of credits in computer science to graduate. So that's one, I think, key factor to our school. We have a very strong uh, computer science program. We have a great partnership with our high school grade levels with the middle school. So there's a peer mediation program, mentoring programs, and some of our athletic programs work together with middle and high school, not competing against each other necessarily at practice, but the captains of the high school teams in certain sports are very, close knit and a part of the middle school. And there's just a lot of leadership opportunities for our older students, along with the coaches who oversee everything in athletics, to really build a nice bond, a nice bridge from middle school to high school. So there's an easy transition there through our athletic program. Peer mediation is an awesome program that we've been running for several years now, where our high school students help deal with very minor conflict in the middle school level. So if there are two middle school students, for example, who have minor conflict with one another, rather than sitting in an administrator's office, depending on the circumstances, we may feel that peer mediation is a better choice, where high school students would actually be in a room with an adult there to monitor the situation. But the high school students would speak directly with the middle school students and talk to them about their problem, their issues, and work together to sort things out and to de-escalate the situation. This program has had a tremendous amount of success over the last few years. So what does an AMSA school day look like? Campus opens at 7:25 a.m. every day. That means that the buses start coming on campus, cars can start coming on campus, etc. That's when drop off can happen and the students can go into the buildings at that time. Um, and then first period starts at 7:55 a.m. So there's a half hour time frame from when school campus opens to first period bell ringing. So students are expected to be in their seats and ready to learn right at 7:55 a.m. Eighth period, which is the last period of the day, that ends at 2:45 p.m. each day. So on a daily basis, students have 8 45-minute periods. We have a rotating schedule, so not every classes do not meet at the same time every day. The meeting times for each class varies as you go through the 8 day rotating schedule, which we think is a nice benefit as well for the students and for the teachers. You're seeing students at different times of the day. I do want to point out that I added this bullet point in there, this little asterisk there. We do not have recess at AMSA starting right away. Sixth grade, we do not have a set time for recess. Lunch sessions are about 25 minutes each. Lunch starts at 11:11 a.m. for our sixth graders, and then around 11:30, 37 or 36 or so for seventh grade, and then eighth grade has the last lunch session. So it's broken up each day. Sixth graders always have first lunch, second lunch for seventh grade, third lunch for eighth grade. We'll talk a little bit more about our lunch program later on. Behavioral expectations and some key school policies. We do have high behavioral expectations at our school. Uh, as I mentioned, our student parent handbook is on our website. You can view that and view some of the key rules. It's a long document. It's probably close to 80 pages, but I would say that there's a solid 10 to 15 pages in there that really goes in depth on what AMSA is all about. We have some unique policies and procedures at the school that we think make for a very safe and smooth environment where students can really focus on learning. We have a strong cell phone policy. Cell phones are not to be on a student's person during the school day when they are in grades 6 through 8. If they have a cell phone on campus, they can walk in, they can use their phone up until first period starts, and that cell phone needs to be in their locker and turned on to silent or turned off for the rest of the day, and they can get their phone out of their locker at 2:45. If a student's caught with their cell phone, there's consequences for that. Um, but we rarely run into issues, especially in the middle school with cell phones, because everybody understands the policy and it makes for a much more, like I said, smooth, flowing academic environment for our students where there are much less distractions because students do not have their cell phones out. We do have a uniform policy, which is also on our school website. There's a very user-friendly poster that you can view that gives you kind of like the highlights of what the key pieces or the key expectations are for our dress code at AMSA. Um, our uniform has come a long way. It used to be extremely strict. We believe that over the last 5 or 6 years, we've arrived in a very nice spot where we've basically made almost no changes, very minimal changes over the last 5, maybe even 6 years with our uniform policy because it's just in a good place right now and easy to understand, easy to follow. And again, it lessens the distractions at school each day. I also put here on the second bullet point, AMSA gives homework. I want to be very clear about that. We know that there are some surrounding towns and cities that have policies where students do not receive homework and don't have expectations on completing homework. AMSA does give homework, and the homework completion is required, and it's a certain percentage point toward a student's grade each quarter. So I do want to be very clear and make everyone aware that that is the case. We have seen over the last few years more and more sixth graders come in and not be, it's a little bit of an adjustment period for them to get used to having homework. So if you do accept a seat through the lottery, and you end up becoming a part of the AMSA community, please do keep that in mind. Starting in sixth grade, students will receive homework. Real quick on AMSA operations. I promise I'm almost done soon. I know I'm talking a lot. Hopefully, you're finding this information helpful. Transportation. We have three fee-based regional buses. Information on how much on the costs and the fees that can be found again on our website. The fees for our regional buses, they vary each year. I can't give you a solid number on what it is each year. It definitely adjusts each and every school year, but you can learn more information on our school website about that. We have 8 Marlboro buses that are running right now. Those Marlboro busing is free. There is no fee associated with Marlboro busing if you are a Marlboro resident. Our lunch program. It says here we have a wonderful lunch program. I agree. The food is great. We work with a company called Catering Options. We're a little bit different. We don't cook food on campus. We don't have kitchens with cooks. We don't have people preparing meals on campus. We contract out with Catering Options. It's a local company right down the road in Marlboro, not too far from AMSA. They deliver the food each day and they serve the food for us. They serve the food each day to our students. You have to order lunches in advance by 1 month. So today's what? We're at the end of January right now. So families have already received their February lunch, um, the February lunch menu, probably about 2 weeks ago. So the middle of each month, you'll receive the menu for the upcoming month. And families, students can go in and check off their orders. They make their payment in advance. That information goes to our lunch program director, and then she gets the list. She generates the list, and now we know who ordered lunch on each day of the week for the upcoming month. Students go up during the lunch. They state their name. Their name is checked off, and they receive a ticket to go get their food in the line. It's a very simple process, but I do want to be very clear that there's also a cost to it. There's a fee with our lunch. We are not a part of the federal lunch programming. We're not eligible for that at this time. I know that we're trying to look into ways to make something work in the future, but there's a lot of different things we have to go through to make that happen. But lunch has a fee associated with it. But if families are in need of financial assistance or they qualify for financial assistance, I should say, we of course have the free or reduced lunch program as well. And that whole process, again, is outlined on our school website. That's information that would be received during the registration process to come to AMSA. And we would take care of any situations where free or reduced lunch is necessary. The health office, we have a great health office at AMSA. We have one district nurse and 2 part-time nurses working there right now. They take care of all students in grades 6 through 12. I already talked a little bit about field trips. We have grade level coordinators or one teacher that applies each year to lead a grade level, and they're the ones who kind of oversee the planning of the field trips. And right now, for after school clubs at AMSA for this current school year, we have over 50 different clubs that are running, which hopefully tells you all that there's plenty of opportunity for students to get involved at AMSA after school, a certain number of days per week, if they wish. Real quick, AMSA Athletics. We have a great athletic program here at AMSA. We are part of the MIAA. We have 37 different teams right now, 23 different varsity programs. Since AMSA has only one principal, middle school students are eligible to play at the JV or varsity level, depending on their skill level, of course, and if they're, you know, mentally ready for that sort of challenge, mentally and physically ready for that sort of challenge. That is an option. We do have some middle school specific sports that I note down here: boys basketball, track and field, and cross country. Every season, we have 3 sports seasons: the fall, the winter, and the spring. There's at least one sport each season where it's a non-cut sport, meaning there are no roster cuts, that anyone who successfully completes tryouts, they'll be a part of the team. Please keep that in mind. It's a great way for students to get involved. Our track and field program and cross country programs are usually very large. very active and have high participation rate. Because it's one of those, those are the sports where there's no roster cuts, everyone makes it, and it's an opportunity to meet new people and get involved and represent the school. School counseling department. So our school counselors are here for all students. They support students in their academic lives, social, emotional, and they also help with college and career development, especially as they enter into 8th, 9th grade. That's when the college career planning really steps up. We're looking to even start the college and career planning process at an earlier time with 6th grade and get them to start thinking a little bit about what they want to pursue when they get older. So the counselors take part in academic advising. They do conduct classroom lessons. They have individual counseling sessions that are always open to students upon request, and also they work with small groups. They are a huge part of the advisory program that I talked about, which occurs once every 8 days. When students get older, they handle the standardized testing with PSATs, AP testing, and then they run seminar classes that focus on college and career development and planning. They are also the 504 coordinators at AMSA as well. All right, the special education department. Our service delivery, as it says here, we run an inclusion model where the majority of the services are occurring in the general ed classroom. There are academic lab courses that take place. That would be something determined by the IEP team. Um, Services, as you would see at most other public schools, delivered by special education teachers, general education teachers, and paraprofessionals. It's a team effort. Also on staff, we do have a school psychologist, an SLP, speech language pathologist, BCBA, physical therapist, occupational therapist, and we have assistive technology staff member as well. Um, any transition meetings, meaning students that are coming into the school who are on an IEP, you will be connected with Lynn Jarvis. You can connect with her. Her email address is down here. And again, Lynn Jarvis is here to answer any specific questions if anyone has any relating to special education at the conclusion of this meeting, after the meeting concludes tonight. But those meetings happen in the spring, and that's when the team will meet to determine any service delivery, how the service delivery will work at AMSA. At this point, I can take a break. Hopefully, you all are not asleep out there from my voice, but I'm going to kick it over to Katilsa Indrasano. She is our ELL director and also teaches our ELL support classes. So take it away, Katilsa.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm just going to explain a little bit about the EL program at AMSA. So the EL program aims to help students become more proficient in English to meet the same academic standards as their English-speaking peers. So this allows all the students to become more integrated into social settings, better prepares them for college environment, and even help them build their careers. At AMSA, we have like two types of EL, which is an English learner. These students, they speak another language. So AMSA has like the ELs born United States. So these students have attended school in the USA for several years, but still struggle with speaking English. They have mastered social language, but still like need help with academic language and vocabulary. Also, we have the EL, the English learners who immigrated to United States. These students, they possess academic language and content knowledge in their native language, but they might need a little help with the English proficiency. So how are the students enrolled in English language program at AMSA? All families need to complete a home language survey upon enrollment at AMSA. When you're filling out the application, the registration form, parents list the language spoken at home. So that means like if you list other language than English in the home language survey, that means that your child might be required to be screened by the WIDER proficiency, English proficiency. So federal and state laws require that all new students who register for AMSA who have a language other than English in their home, we need to do the assessments to determine whether the student qualifies for the English program, for the English language program. And all the students who are exposed to a second language will participate in the assessment process. So it depends on the score we recommend for the EL classes. If you do need any more information, you can contact me with that. As soon as we get the registration from every single family and we detect a second language in the home language survey, the family will be contacted and we can talk about it. So ELs are tested every year, and we call the access test. And this is to help teachers understand their language skills, but you have the right to accept or decline the language support. So it means that if you do not want your child to participate in the EL classes, you have the right to opt out.
Take it away. Next up is Linda Edwards. She's the special guest tonight, the one that you probably all want to hear from. She'll talk to you about the admissions and the lottery process.
Okay, so I have been here a long time, about 17 years, and I have been a parent in the same position as you have with a student in the lottery and waiting to hear. So applications will stay open until February the 7th, but after that they are closed. There will be no late acceptances through the lottery. That's a charter school law. We cannot set a lottery date yet, but as soon as I have information from the state which tells us when we can set it, then I will be sending an email to everybody who has applied, and it will have information about when the lottery is, how many students are in the lottery, and I will ask you to look at your child's information that I will send back to you. Are they in the right grade? Are they in the right town? Just so that we make sure that there's no surprises after the lottery. Okay, once the lottery is run, everybody will be put into the lottery, and then we'll divide it up by grade. Siblings of current students, that is currently attending AMSA students, they will receive the priority in offers for any open seats. After that come students from our core towns, which is Clinton, Hudson, Marlborough, and Maynard. And if there are any seats left, they would be offered to non-core town students who must live in Massachusetts. Okay, so as I say on the bottom there, the lottery will be held virtually in late February, and we will be letting you know when it will be held. It will also be posted on the AMSA webpage, on the prospective student page, so you can find it there. There will also be student-led tours later in the spring, and that information will be put on the website for you to find there too. Okay? All right. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, I just pulled up here. Here's some, we call them important email addresses from, so you may have specific questions for some people that are listed here that are not here tonight. Please feel free to reach out. And yeah, Miss Edwards, I'm not sure, is there a Q&A? I can't see anything right now. I just see my screen. So are there any questions?
If you go across the top, you'll see it, but
Okay.
there have been no questions.
Okay. Okay.
That I've seen. I keep waiting.
Okay.
If anybody out there does have a question, please put it in the Q&A so that we can get it answered for you.
We can wait another few seconds if we don't get anything, we can conclude. And if people have any questions, and again, I do want to mention Lynn Jarvis and Catelsa and Drasano are happy to stay afterward if anybody, would that go through the Q&A, Miss Edwards, or will they be able to have a chat with people after? If
They will have to take questions through the Q&A,
okay.
hear the answers. I do see a couple of questions here. How many
Okay.
openings do you have for 6th grade in Marlborough? We do not have that information yet. You know, I'm anticipating our 6th grade class will be in the 130, 135 range, but we do not have a set number as of this point, and it would not be specifically for Marlborough. It would be for core town students. Okay? This one for you, Mike. What is the attendance policy?
So our attendance policy is quite lengthy, but I guess the key pieces is that we of course expect to see students in class in school each day. But if there's an issue, if a child's sick, you know, there's an absence line where parents or guardians would call in. If there's an extended absence for a medical reason, we just ask that documentation be submitted and we would excuse that. Um, we have a policy where if students exceed over 15 unexcused absences for a school year, that they are subject to um, not earning credit in their courses. That's extremely rare at AMSA because I do believe that we take a very proactive approach. Letters go out to families if a student hits 5 unexcused absences, and then a letter will go out each time after that for each unexcused absence, as well as us offering meetings to figure out and to work with the families on what's going on. Again, that's for unexcused absences. We rarely deal with issues where students exceed 15 for the school year, but we are very proactive with that. I'm not sure if that's what this person was looking for exactly, but that's kind of the main gist of it.
Yep. So what is the average amount of students that you might expect to take in the lottery? So as I said, I'm expecting about 130 to 135 6th graders. The number of 7th, 8th, and 9th graders we take is totally dependent on the number of our current students who leave. So in a general year, we would expect maybe 4 students for 7th grade, 4 for 8th grade, and maybe 8 or 9 for 9th grade. Those students we do not know about until the summer, so you will not be getting an offer in late February through the lottery. Students in grades 7, 8, and 9 will be put on a wait list, and that's where we will offer seats from. Oh,
See,
do you have a before and after school program? I think that's what it means.
yeah, so that's a good question. Something that for future years I should include maybe more information on that. We do not have it. We do not have a before school program. And I also should have mentioned we do not have a breakfast program either. I mentioned our lunch program has a fee associated with it and that families need to order in advance. Again, unless there's a family qualifies for financial assistance through free or reduced lunch, we of course take care of that. Uh, so no before school programming. We do have after school programming for high school students and then one for middle school students. The middle school grade levels, grades 6 through 8, it is called the Homework Club. That's a program where more information would go out at the very beginning of the year for families to sign up. There is a fee associated with that as well, and that program runs until 6 p.m. every night, and it starts at 3:30 p.m. Or sorry, 3 p.m. Because school gets out at 2:45, so 3 p.m. There are two after school programs for high school and middle school that both start at 3 p.m. and they run until 6. So that's a good question.
Okay. Another question here. Do you take admission for 10th and 11th grade if kids drop out? We do not. We do not admit students to AMSA after 9th grade. It also asks the attrition rate for the high school. I would have to go and look it up. It's not very high, though. I don't know if you know the number off the top of your head, Mike.
No, but
No.
it's not high.
No. there's quite a few. How many seats for Worcester? So Worcester is a non-core town, so there's no seats set aside for Worcester. I will say it is very unlikely, especially for 8th grade, that we would ever get to non-core towns. When you receive the email that I send out before the lottery, you will receive the number of students who have applied for each grade so that you can get an idea of, what your chances might be. Okay. Is the lottery based on students' grade? Nope. There is, the only thing that we ask in the application is what grade your child is currently in and what grade you are applying for. And then we ask for your name and address and your student's name and date of birth. That's the only thing we ask for. So other than that, it's pure lottery. I don't know what's the current cost of the meal program, Mike. Do you have any idea off the top of your head?
I believe that the lunches,
I can, okay.
I don't have the exact number, but I do believe it's close to $5 per lunch on average.
Okay, yep. We do have a drama program. It's quite active. It is 6th through 12th grade. Do you have
Yep.
anything else to add to that, Mike?
No, that's a great program though. There's many
Yep.
students involved.
Many children who don't live in four-core towns get into the school anymore. Very few will get in, unfortunately, because we generally have, 900, 1,000 applicants, and the majority of those will be from core town. So, it is very hard to get in if you are not a core town student, unless you have a child already attending.
Yep. We can take a few more. We got about 2 minutes left, if there are any more.
Yep.
There
So
are.
it says, what month did you say we would hear? You will hear once the lottery closes, generally within a couple of weeks. I do hope to hear from the Department of Education before I send out that email. Otherwise, I'll send you an email and then send you a second one once I get the information. This one's for you, Mike. Are there any honor level programs or STEM programs?
Honor level program. We have, again, I would suggest that the person who asked that take a look at our website and look at our program of studies. The upper school program of studies, specifically under the academics tab on our website, you'll see all the offerings we have. We have honors level courses, we have advanced placement AP courses, we have accelerated courses which are beyond AP. So yes, there's plenty, and we are a school that, if you Advanced Math and Science Academy, we do live by that name. There are many offerings, and especially in math and science, and through computer science, engineering. You can find all that information on the website.
Okay,
If
Mike,
that's what they were asking.
this is an important one. Do you
Yep.
find that students coming in 9th grade are prepared for the level of classes, or do they often need extra help? I'll let you answer that one.
I think it varies by student. I know that's not the answer they probably want to hear, but it really varies by student in their
Motivation.
Motivation level for sure. Also, like which district they're coming from, what type of program they're used to. It really depends. I've seen all different ranges over my 15 years here. I would say the vast majority find success. I mean, I can think of stories where we had one girl who started in 9th grade and graduated as the class president and was one of the top students in the class. I think many of them find success academically, but that was one story that stuck out to me as someone who started in 9th grade and earned the respect of her peers and was the class president within 3 years of being here. So I've seen many success stories for the most part, I would say.
Okay, I see one more that we probably should answer. Is there a passing grade in the assessment to be accepted to be a student at AMSA? So once you are accepted and completed the registration, then you are placement tested, and that is just to place you into a class. so that you are, so that not you, sorry, your child, um, is going to be challenged but not overwhelmed. We want to make sure they're in the right level for them. There's no need, if you don't, there's no not passing that test. It's a screen to see where we should put you.
Correct. Yeah, just that's good. That's a very good question to probably end on because I want to respect everybody's time. It's
Yeah.
7 o'clock, but just to be very clear, the placement assessments that were discussed, that occurs once the student has accepted their seat at AMSA. There's nothing that's going to disqualify a student based on their performance on an assessment. That's just, as Miss Edwards mentioned, that's just to find the appropriate starting point and level for students and identify if they need any supports. There's no exam or anything that needs to be passed to get into AMSA.